Our next question comes from Mike's asking for a friend. Oh, I love these names. He says, "Hey, Lone Wolf Crew, this one is for you. Which martial arts movie has the most memorable fight scene ever? For me, it's Bruce Lee versus Han in ETD Enter the Dragon. Thoughts?" Nah. Great question. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Bruce Lee versus Han? Goodness, the name of the actor his name is jumping out of my head, so please forgive me, but he is old as dirt. Fighting against a young Bruce Lee? The fight is cool because it's, there's mirrors involved and hand switching claws and bear claws and blades and whatnot, but maybe that's what you mean by most memorable, because of the setting, because of the mirrors and and the claw hand or whatever. But nah, I'm not feeling that. As far as memorable fights, actually, let me pull back a little bit. All of these questions are subjective. That's what's great about this channel. That's what's great about what we do here at Lone Wolf and Cub, is that diversity of thought, right? Me and Cub don't agree on every movie, right? I've seen Bing and Cub go at it. Believe it or not, me and Bing, our thoughts align more than mine and Cub, believe it or not. But she's relatively new to the genre, so. But anyway, so everyone's opinion is valid. So, let's start there. Memorable fight scene ever. All right. I'm probably going to wig you all out because okay, let me switch it up. Okay, old school. Can I break it down? Can I break it into two schools? So let's say old school, right? Old school, Jet Li versus Donnie Yen in Once Upon a Time in China 2. That's like a memorable scene for me. I actually have the two sideshow collector type dolls. I'm going to be building a diorama, and at some point I'm going to put a video out for you all to check that out, because I want to recreate that fight scene. That fight scene, to me, particularly the first one, because they fight twice in the movie. The first fight, it's just fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. The reason why it's one of the most memorable fight scenes ever for me is because you're talking about two martial arts superstars, right? At their peak, taking on. And I can't really think of any. I mean, you'd have to go back to like Hwang John Lee versus John Liu, something like that, where the two names are so high up on everybody's list that when they face each other, you go, holy crap. Same thing. I mean, Jet Li was an absolute phenom. Donnie Yen also was a prodigy. We're talking about two of the best to ever do it. And also, it was an added treat because we got to see Donnie Yen play the villain, right? And those two going at it, with those poles, man, it was just. I can't remember a time where I think when I watched it that I was like yelping like a hyena. I was oh my god. So, old school, I would say Jet Li versus Donnie Yen in Once Upon a Time in China 2. New school. I challenge anybody to come up with a better fight scene than the end fight scene, the knife fight in the Raid 2. The Raid 2, the end fight scene with with knives in the kitchen. Bro, quit playing with me, man. Quit playing with me. That fight is so bananas. It's so off the meters. It's not even. It's a wonder that they didn't immediately start filming. You know how sometimes they film a movie and they know it's that good, they immediately go and start filming the next one right away. I am absolutely shocked that they didn't do a Raid 3. It's probably too late now, right? But that's how good that fight was. That fight was so good that they should have immediately said, let's start filming. let's start shooting some fight scenes for Raid 3. That fight is off the meters. Incredibly realistic, vicious, violent. I love that stuff, man. God, I love that. So for me, new school, the end knife fight in the Raid 2. I would love for you all to comment below. Give me a better fight scene, new school, than that. Give me one better than that, new school. Old school, you might come up with one better, but for me, Jet Li versus Donnie Yen in Once Upon a Time in China, that's it. And then for new school, the end knife fight in the Raid 2, right? Honorable mentions. Gordon Liu versus Philip Ko in 8 Diagram Pole Fighters. I like that fight. That fight's lit. That fight's real lit. I like that fight. Dude, Masked Avengers in fight, where they're fighting in the killer's lair, and they got traps and all that stuff, and then they're fighting, and it's like 3 against 2, and they're using their tridents, and they're throwing them back and forth to each other, and they're throwing them up in the air, and hoping that they come down on the good guys. Man, that fight was dope. Very well choreographed. I thoroughly enjoyed that fight as well. And honorable mentions. Oh. Donnie Yen versus Wu Jing in SPL. Tell me that fight in the alley was not fire, right? But I can't switch it out because first of all, I already mentioned Jet Li in one already, and although that fight was dope, I still think the end fight in the Raid 2 is a little bit better. But that fight, that SPL fight, that fight was dope as well. So that's my list. I would say Jet Li versus Donnie Yen in Once Upon a Time in China 2. The end knife fight in the Raid 2 as far as my new school pick. My honorable mentions, 8 Diagram Pole Fighters, Masked Avengers, and SPL. So tell me what you think. I would love to know what you all think out there. So leave a comment below and let us know, and we can chop it up later. We can maybe talk about it during a live stream. But again, Mike asking for a friend. Thank you so much. That's a great question. Fantastic. Why don't we go ahead and move on to the next one? Next question.